the strategic game behind TSMC's Unshackling. On January 1, 2026, Reuters revealed a blockbuster development. TSMC, the world's largest chip foundry, announced it had received an annual license from the U.S. Trump administration, authorizing the export of chip manufacturing equipment to its Nanjing, China plant throughout 2026. This seemingly routine industry news conceals a highly counterintuitive outcome. Why has the United States, which previously made a high-profile show of revoking indefinite waivers for companies like TSMC and Samsung and vowed to plug technology leakage loopholes, suddenly taken the initiative to loosen the ties? Considering that the Trump administration had just implemented a one-size-fits-all revocation of long-term privileges for these enterprises last August, this sudden pivot to issuing temporary permits is by no means accidental. First, let's break down a key concept: the validated end-user (VEU) authorization previously enjoyed by these companies was essentially a fast pass for the global chip supply chain. With it, US equipment could be shipped directly to factories in China without the need for case-by-case approval. The US shift to an annual license essentially swaps a long-term pass for a temporary permit requiring yearly renewal. While it appears to tighten control, it actually leaves a backdoor open. The more subversive hard fact here is that the 16 nanometers and 28 nanometers mature process chips produced at TSMC's Nanjing plant, while not the most cutting-edge technology, support half the world's automotive electronics and IoT devices. If production were to stop, a vast number of downstream companies in Europe and America would plunge into a chip shortage crisis. Next, let's look at European industry cases to understand why the Western logic of technological containment against China is failing behind this policy relaxation. Let's look at the warning signs from Europe. It is crucial to note that the company targeted by the Netherlands was not just an ordinary firm, but Nexperia, a global leader in semiconductor discrete devices. Its products are widely used in core components like engine controls, airbags, and in-vehicle infotainment systems. 1 in every 3 cars globally uses its chips. In September 2025, under intense US pressure, the Dutch government suddenly intervened, using prevention of technology leakage as a pretext to attempt to force divestment of Chinese controlling interests in Nexperia. This reckless move dropped a bomb directly onto the global semiconductor supply chain. Crucially, Nexperia's production chain is highly dependent on the Chinese market, with nearly 80% of its products requiring packaging and testing, a critical step, to be completed in China. Facing unreasonable intervention from the Netherlands, China immediately implemented targeted export controls, effectively choking off the global circulation of the relevant chips. Western automakers panicked immediately. Volkswagen Group publicly stated at the time that production lines for 2 of its flagship models were facing cutback warnings due to blocked supplies of Nexperia chips. France's Renault revealed it was urgently reallocating global inventory to cope with potential supply cuts, and the German Association of the Automotive Industry issued a stern warning, stating that, if the supply chain continues to rupture, the German auto industry faces a capacity loss of at least 10%, affecting hundreds of thousands of jobs. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Data shows that Europe's capacity in global semiconductor manufacturing has fallen off a cliff, dropping from 24% in 2000 to just 8% today, with most high-end chips and core manufacturing links dependent on the East Asian supply chain. The Dutch political intervention directly punctured the illusion of European supply chain security, causing a total collapse in the sense of security among European enterprises. To survive, many companies have resorted to desperate measures. Some procure relevant chips indirectly through third-party trading companies in Southeast Asia, some delay R&D plans for non-core models to save chip usage, and others even maintain secret cooperation with Chinese packaging and testing firms, completely disregarding the Dutch government's restrictive measures. The core revelation of this case is far more profound than simply failed Dutch intervention. It directly exposes a fatal flaw in the Western cognitive model that technological security takes precedence over industrial symbiosis. In the face of a highly interwoven globalized industrial chain, this logic simply does not work. To understand this, one must first understand the origin of this cognitive model. It is rooted in Cold War zero-sum thinking, continuing the old logic of unilateral hegemony where controlling core technology means controlling everything, while completely ignoring the new ecosystem formed by decades of semiconductor industry development. Today's semiconductor supply chain is no longer a simple linear relationship of you make parts, I assemble products. Instead, it is like a precision-interlocked set of global gears, from silicon purification to chip design, from equipment manufacturing to packaging and testing. Every link is dispersed across different countries and regions, relying on global logistics and collaborative systems to function. East Asia, with its complete industrial supporting facilities and economies of scale, occupies 73% of global semiconductor capacity. China is not only an important manufacturing base but also the world's largest consumer market. European automakers' chips, Apple's mobile chips, and German industrial robots' control chips are all inseparable from the support of the East Asian supply chain. The Netherlands' reckless intervention was a mistake of treating this gear set like Lego blocks that could be cut at will, thinking that political power could strip away Chinese interests and block technology flow. Instead, it caused their own gears to stop turning, plunging local automakers into a production crisis. This is exactly the same as the reversal in US chip controls against China. The US shouts slogans of preventing technology leaks, attempting to use export controls to choke key links in the chain, but fails to anticipate that its own equipment companies and downstream tech firms are deeply bound to the Chinese market. If a complete severance were to occur, US domestic industries would be the first to suffer. The slogan of so-called technological security is ultimately difficult to justify in the face of real industrial interests and the need for global supply chain stability. More importantly, this tear between perception and reality is not just a minor interlude in US-China tech competition, but a core proposition that the Western intellectual class must re-examine. In today's technological globalization, security is never achieved through isolation and blockade, but through industrial symbiosis and mutual prosperity. Technological progress is not the exclusive privilege of any single nation, but the result of collaborative innovation by all of humanity. It concerns not only the technological development paths of China and the US but the underlying logic of the future of the human technology industry, whether to continue clinging to Cold War thinking and block confrontation, or to conform to the trend of globalization and build a symbiotic system. This is the critical question that everyone concerned with technological development needs to ponder. Looking at the industrial predicament within the United States, data from the Semiconductor Industry Association, SIA, shows that while the US holds a 41% global market share in semiconductor manufacturing equipment, the core application market for this equipment is concentrated in East Asia, with China being the world's largest semiconductor consumer market. The Trump administration previously revoked corporate waivers, requiring companies to apply for equipment export approval on a case-by-case basis. US officials have revealed that Samsung and SK Hynix alone would need to process an extra 1,000 licenses annually. Such administrative barriers not only drastically increase corporate operating costs but could also cause US equipment companies to lose core customers. Furthermore, the Chip for Alliance and domestic manufacturing reshoring plans pushed by the US have so far yielded meager results. Intel's multi-billion-dollar investments in Germany and France have yet to form substantial capacity, and US domestic chip capacity accounts for only 12% of the global total, far from enough to support its own industrial needs. Behind this data lies the failure of Western zero-sum game cognition. The US attempts to contain China's semiconductor industry development through export controls but overlooks a basic fact: semiconductors are a highly globalized industry intensive in both capital and technology. 8 of the world's top 10 semiconductor companies are American, but their profit growth relies on the support of the Chinese market. Unshackling TSMC is essentially a compromise by the US between industrial interests and political demands. It does not want to cause domestic industrial turmoil by completely severing the global supply chain, yet it wants to retain leverage through annual reviews. However, such volatile policymaking will only exacerbate global corporate anxiety regarding supply chain stability, ultimately damaging the innovative vitality of the global tech industry. For human society, the ultimate goal of technological development is to serve human well-being. Using technology as a tool for geopolitical gains violates the essential laws of technological progress. TSMC's sigh of relief is by no means a phase victory in the US-China tech competition. Rather, it rings a warning bell for the world. In a highly interconnected technological era, any attempt to sever supply chains or engage in block confrontation will ultimately backfire. The symbiotic structure of the semiconductor industry is the result of the combined action of market laws and corporate choices. It concerns the stability of the global economy and, even more so, the future of human technological progress.